Just record to the cloud.
Okay, it's ready to go.
Hello and welcome to our 10 ways to opt out of sick season. We are excited to share some little tidbits with you. We do want to keep it brief, so we want to respect your time. So we're not going to give you all the information, so please feel free to reach out and ask questions later. But we do want to give you just 10 little tips that can really make a difference for you. But remember, just because you put into action these 10 little tips doesn't mean that no one will ever get sick. It's good for people to get sick. Our kids get sick, we get sick, and that boosts our immunity because we live in a world that has illness. Our goal is really to help you get sick less often, for the sicknesses to be less severe, and for them to last a lesser amount of time. So that's really our goal, to help you and just give you some tools to equip you to go into this sick season better off. So great, we're gonna get started with sharing some great tips.
Hi, I'm Monica, and I have a background in food safety. So that's actually where I'm going to start today, which you might think, what does that have to do with getting sick? But so believe it or not, bacteria and viruses can't live on surfaces for very long. So we're always concerned about wiping down handles and wiping down surfaces and not sharing drinks when you're sick. But there's actually the bacteria and viruses that we have when we do get sick actually live on food surfaces for a lot longer than on any of those other places, because what is in food gives those bacteria and viruses food to grow. And so that's actually where they flourish the most. So that's kind of where we need to be worried about transferring illness to our family members. So when we are preparing food, if you are sick, you need to be extra careful with your just typical food, cleanliness type things. So washing your hands, making sure you're not using your phone or whatever recipe. If you have an iPad or something like that, if you're going in between that and then back and forth to cooking, you need to make sure that you are making sure to wash your hands and being very thorough with all that while you're sick. And it's even better if you can have somebody else preparing food when you're sick, which isn't always possible as a mom. But just being careful with those kinds of cleanliness things is really important. So food-borne illness, we always think about food sickness or getting sick from like a bad taco or undercooked chicken or things like that. But actually, it's usually regular bacteria that is just living on our food, and that grows fastest between 70 degrees and 135 degrees. So that's why we want to refrigerate things to be cooler than that, and then also heat things to be hotter than that when we're ready to eat them. So this often comes into play at parties, and you think about a buffet that's left out, and I've always wondered, how long is too long, and when does the potato salad go bad, and things like that. And so there's a real simple formula that you can just know this, you can write it down, that hot food can be left out for 4 hours, which might be a little bit longer than you would think. But once it's past that 4-hour mark, you really want to throw it out. And then for cold food, it can be out for up to 6 hours, as long as it doesn't get above 70 degrees. So if you have salads or cut things like that, after that point, you really want to be putting it away. So that's my first point. And the second one I wanted to cover was water. And as we all know, water is the building block of all life. And when we drink the appropriate amount of water, it helps prevent toxins from building up in our body, which has a negative impact on our immune system. And you might think that, oh, it's just water, but the more water you drink, it actually is flushing those toxins out of your body and helping to just bolster that immune system. You also adding lemon to your water is really helpful. It's a little extra boost of vitamin C, helps with your digestion, and helps you further detox your body. Drinking warm water also is really good for you. So various teas and things like that provides extra antioxidants to your system. And the last thing about water is that you really want to be focused on the pH of your water. Our bodies function best when they're alkaline. And unfortunately, a lot of our water system is not alkaline. And if you aren't filtering your water properly, then you are making it harder on your kidneys to do their job, because they're focused so much on getting your body back to an alkaline state from an acidic one that it prevents vitamin absorption and suppresses your immune system. So make sure you can test your water. If you're using a filter, you can buy pH tests at the store, and you can just test it and see where it falls along there to make sure that it's in an alkaline state, that will be the best for you to be able to fight off all the sicknesses that you come in contact during the sick season.
Awesome. Thank you, Monica. Stacy.
Oh, I'm up.
You're up.
Okay, who is it that has the sample of the Vitalized Immunity? I'll go over that one first. Okay, awesome. So I'm just going to say the reason I don't have that in my house is because my husband, who is a Washington, D.C. police officer, lives on that stuff, because you got to imagine the amount of yuckies that he's exposed to. So I literally have 1/2 of a sample in my house right now, okay? So thank you, Sarah. There it is. So what I love about these is that you can either use them just daily, or you can take them at the first onset of, like a tickle in your throat. Or what I like to do is when I travel, I incorporate more, just that extra boost. So this has as much vitamin C, and we all know vitamin C is awesome for warding off viruses and germs and yuckies, as much vitamin C as 16 oranges. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't eat 16 oranges, even if I tried. Maybe if it was in juice, but then it's too much sugar. But I can't do that. So this is really neat. And honestly, half of it does the job for me and my kids. And my youngest loves to put this in hot or warm water, because it's like it bubbles and it's like a science experiment. So he calls it Mount Vesuvius, so just to make it fun. So if you have kids, that makes it fun. And it tastes like a fizzy orange drink. It's really yummy. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is, and I have the older label, if you can see, that's probably backwards, Defend and Resist. This is another one that, every time I see this, I'm like, Defend and Resist. I think of my husband, a police officer. So this has echinacea, black elderberry, and larch tree, and zinc, which are all great for helping to rebuild that immune system once it's compromised. And I didn't actually mention this at the beginning, but my background, if you will, first a mom, a cop's wife. I ran a licensed child daycare for 20 years. So talk about being exposed to a lot of germs. I lived in a petri dish for a long time, as I like to call it, runny noses, coughing season. But anyway, never got the flu shot, never got the flu. Anyway, but this was one of the things that I lived on anytime anybody around me started getting sick. Like, I didn't even wait for me to get sick. I was just really scared. So this is really great. Instead of doing a cough drop, which usually has a lot of chemicals and sugar in it, I'll just suck on one of these and it tastes great. My kids will just chew it up. You can swallow it. Another great thing I like to do is to put it in some warm water with, and I don't know if anybody here is talking about it, our alfalfa complex, and crush it up and make it into a tea. And if it's not sweet enough for like my younger ones, I'll put just a little bit of honey. And that's just something that I like to do. And another way to think about this is like you would treat antibiotics. So you would only take it for about 7, maybe 10 days the most, and then you stop, because you don't want to build up a resistance to this, just like you would with antibiotics. But this is awesome to keep, and I keep like 3 bottles of this during the fall and winter months, just because I don't want to run out, and I don't want to ever have anybody in this house on antibiotics, because it just messes with our immune system. So those are my 2.
Awesome. Thanks, Stacy.
Welcome.
Sarah.
Hey everyone. So my biggest one I wanted to chat about is cutting the sugar. A big thing that depletes our immune system is sugar, and you really need to be label aware, because I'm telling you, I'm like the sugar police now. Sugar is in panko, breadcrumbs, salsa. It's in chicken nuggets. Like, I had to find special chicken nuggets for my kids. Why do I need sugar? They don't need sugar in chicken nuggets. Like, they probably don't need the chicken nuggets as is, but it works. So don't want sugar in them. So be very label aware. Look for added sugar. There's going to be naturally occurring sugar in things like fruit, and that's great for your body, but be aware, because that's just going to deplete our immune system. Another big reason why I love what Stacy is sharing, these supplements that are kid friendly, because if you notice, a lot of the organic kid-friendly supplements at CVS, if you look at the ingredients, a lot of them contain sugar and low vitamins and minerals. It's very interesting. I'm like, they're basically selling me honey with like no zinc in it. Okay, so very label aware. So with cutting the sugar, a big thing that I do year round anyway is vegetables. Vegetables are going to help us get better. And so there's so many ways we can integrate that. And of course this season, soups and crock pots and stir fries. I mean, I make spaghetti. I'm going to like, okay, well, I'm going to put green peppers in my spaghetti. And I just cut that up in there, and green peppers and onions, those are my favorite to hide in things, and my kids will eat them. So that is my cutting the sugar, add the vegetables tip. It really does work because I used to have a lot of sugar in my diet in my 20s, and that's when I was sick the most. When I started cutting it, I noticed that my immune system got better. The next one, I think, Harper, you have Nutrifuron. So this is the bottle. I don't have it because I emptied it into this little pill container and put it in my purse because I went on a trip and I took it every single day. And I also take it every single day, 24/7, 365. This is not a supplement that you necessarily want to take at first tickle. You want to use prevention with this supplement. So I take this year round. Some can choose to take it in the fall and winter, but I take it year round because I just don't want to mess with the sickness. So some of us call it our own little flu shot, but basically we have this thing in our bodies called interferon. There's actually a doctor, his name is Dr. Kujima. You can Google him, and he discovered interferon. So what's cool is that this is actually the only supplement in the US created by Dr. Kojima, who discovered interferon, and is called Nutrifuron. So what it does, there are 4 plant extracts, and it boosts your interferon, and your interferon is critical to your healthy immune function. So I love Nutrifuron. I can tell a huge difference. Been taking it for years. When I take time off for it, I totally notice. So that is our walking flu shot, or whatever we call it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And that one is, you can split it in half and give it to kids too. So that is a huge one, depending on the season. That's great. So I love the history behind that too. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Allison.
Okay. So what I wanted to share today was how important sleep is to our bodies. So I know when I get sick, I just want to crawl into bed, and I know that's my body telling me that it needs the time to rebuild and heal. Sleep's important for our growth hormone, stress, for blood pressure, cardiovascular health, but it affects our energy levels, our reaction time, and of course our immunity, what we're talking about today. And so it's just so important to get that good sleep. And it's important for adults and children, of course. Depending on your body, 7, 8, 9 hours of restful sleep is recommended. And that's continuous sleep. So not waking up and going back to sleep, but fully sleeping through the night. And sometimes we think, oh, I'll just catch up on sleep, but it just doesn't really work that way. You really need to get that full restful sleep overnight. So some tips on getting that better sleep is going to bed at the same time each night. So having just that regular routine, not only does it just good for your body and mind to know when you're going to sleep, but it ensures that you're going to get those necessary hours. We usually always wake up at the same time because we're heading to work or someone in our house is waking up, but the going to bed is tough. Another good habit is shutting off the TV, phone, computer up to an hour before bedtime. The blue light that those technology items emit actually decrease our body's natural production of melatonin, and so it's harder to go and fall to sleep. So as much as it's nice to just to sit and sometimes scroll, it's good to actually turn that off. And then something else to cut off is sugar and caffeine. So depending on how that affects your body, sometime in the evening or maybe into the afternoon, decrease the amount of sugar and caffeine that you're intaking. And one last habit is just to exercise at some point during the day. So to have at least 30 minutes at some point, maybe not right before bedtime, but some point during the day to just get your heart rate up and have that just that exercise. A tired body will fall asleep easier, but it can ease your mind and also decrease your stress by doing that exercise. So for anyone with continued sleep troubles, this would potentially be impacting your immunity. There may be a deficiency in calcium and magnesium. Is actually the number one nutrient deficiency that's found that impacts sleep. And it's actually good to take calcium and magnesium together, because they are most effective in that, when you're intaking it together. You may also consider your stress level. Mind racing, can't get to sleep, or maybe it's causing you to wake up, but there are some natural options for relieving that stress. We recommend an ashwagandha root product that definitely helps anytime throughout the day, but then because your stress is eased, it will help you fall asleep better at night, and of course help that increase your immunity by having good sleep patterns. So that's sleep. Then I also wanted to talk about vitamin D, and they're actually connected a little bit, and I'll get to that. But vitamin D is commonly known, everybody knows it as what we get from the sun, our sun exposure, and that's true. It's the most common source is the sun. But studies also show that the studies show that the vitamin D that we intake, it increases our infection fighting cells in our body. So it's important to have that vitamin D level high enough to make sure that our body can fight infections that come about. And so that's why we see an increase of colds and flu in the winter months, because of the decrease of sun exposure. And sun exposure is the number one, is the most common way to increase our vitamin D. It's actually difficult to get through foods. It's not as commonly found. Some fish like salmon and tuna, egg yolks, cheeses, and there's some foods that are fortified with vitamin D, but it's not the optimal way to have that intake. So there's a lot of times recommended to have supplementation of vitamin D. And that's important to consider the potency and absorption of the vitamin D that you're intaking. There's been many times that prescription vitamin Ds actually do not make a difference on people's vitamin D levels. So it's important to get tested and make sure that you are seeing an impact. And we do recommend a vitamin D3, because that's the one that will actually make that impact in your body and have that absorption level to make sure that that it's making a difference. So actually, as I said, they're connected to sleep. Vitamin D actually helps produce the serotonin in your body, and then your brain actually converts that to melatonin, which is your body hormone, your sleep hormone. And so it actually leads to a good night's sleep. So it's all interconnected there, and just so important to your immunity.
Awesome, Allison. Thank you so much. That was really helpful. Leah.
Hello. Okay, I'm going to talk first about garlic, and I'm kind of a foodie. I love learning about food and the best things to buy. So garlic is amazing. If you do not cook with garlic, you need to start right now, tonight, with your recipe. Get some at the grocery store over this weekend, because garlic has so many benefits for your body. Garlic thins the blood. It helps prevent heart attacks. It raises good cholesterol. It lowers bad cholesterol. It kills and stuns bacteria in your body, which we're talking about, all the bacteria and things that get us sick in the winter. And it also helps kill yeast. So if candida is an issue with you, garlic is a really good thing. And sorry about the baby. I call garlic the anti-king, ANTI, because it is an antioxidant, it's antibacterial, it's antiviral, it's anti-clotting, and it's anti-cancer. Yes, I know. Here you go. You want a spoon? Take a spoon. So, how does garlic have all of these things? Oh, I'm so sorry. Garlic has all of these things, does all of these things because it has a property in it called allicin, ALLICIN. Now, allicin is formed, it's produced in garlic when you start crushing it, chopping it, mincing it, chewing it. Okay, it has to start getting, the compounds have to start getting mixed together. So in order to reap all of those benefits, you have to prepare garlic in a certain way. Oh, you're just not happy now. I apologize. So here's
He's fine, Leah.
I'm sorry, he was so good until right now. So
And that's how it goes. Don't worry about it.
So here's the catch. If you chop your garlic and you put it right into your frying pan or right into your hot crock pot, whatever it is, you're going to kill and render inactive all of that allicin that you have just formed when you're prepping it. So my mantra is press and then rest. Okay, so you press it or you chop it or you mince it, whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, and then you rest it for 10 minutes. So when I cook, if it says, mince 4 cloves of garlic, that's the first thing I do. Put it to the side of my cutting board, and then I start chopping everything else. So that by the time it goes into my hot pan or my Dutch oven, whatever it is, it's rested for 10 minutes. So I'm still going to get all of that allicin. Otherwise, you're going to get the flavor, but you're not going to get the benefits of garlic. All right, so the last thing is keep your garlic, which I did not know this till probably about a few years ago. You want to keep it on your refrigerator shelf, not in your produce drawer, which I think that's probably where most people keep it, right? Because it seems like it's produce, it goes in the produce drawer. You want to keep it on the shelf, and the same is actually true with your onions. So go to your fridge and go get your garlic and your onions out of your produce drawer and put them straight on the shelf, and they will last longer and keep more of their beneficial properties in it.
Can I ask you a question, Leah, about garlic?
Yes.
Do you know anything about what, okay, I'm a lazy garlic lady, and now I'm like, uh-oh, because I buy it already chopped, because that's how much garlic we use in this massive container. So that has 0 health benefits, basically.
I don't know what they've done to the garlic, if it has been heated or not. But from my reading, fresh garlic is better because you don't have all of the other whatever else they put in there. Fresh garlic is just going to taste better. So, that's another big thing too. It's one of those ones where it's like baby carrots or whole carrots. It's worth that extra bit to just, do the real thing.
Another story. Now I got to learn about baby carrots versus whole carrots. Yeah, I'll ask you later.
Okay, so that is the first thing. The second thing I'm going to talk about are probiotics and gut health, and I could spend an hour talking about that. It's super interesting. Now I have my 3 or 5, 6-year-old come. Okay, so probiotics and gut health. Why is this so important? We're hearing so much about probiotics is the big buzzword, and why are they important? Well, 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. So a healthier gut, a healthier you. And actually, because we have something called the gut-brain connection, a healthier gut, the healthier your mind is going to be, which is really, really exciting and interesting. Okay, so for probiotics, now they're going to help your gut health, but the first thing is always to have, hey guys, this is live, so thanks. Reinforcements. Daddy came home early. I appreciate everybody's patience. Okay, so woo, all right. Where was I? Probiotics, gut health. Now, the first thing about gut health is you have so many bacteria that live in your microbiome, that live in your gut, and they need different foods to survive. So a wide range of fruits and vegetables are going to give you the most different types of food for the most different types of bacteria in your gut. Hence, you're going to have more beneficial, different types of bacteria. Now, kids, picky eaters, all of that makes it difficult. And so that's where probiotics really come in. And we have 2. So I have my 2 bottles, the little one and the big one. The little one is just a regular Optiflora. This is what I give to my kids. And I pulled one out. This is how big it is. It's teeny, teeny, tiny. And my children have been taking this since they were itty bitty. So my son has been taking this since he was 6 months old, has been able to swallow this. So kids are amazing. The second one is the one that I take. It's more of a high-powered one. and it's also pretty small. And this one has 10 billion CFUs. And the thing about probiotics is there's so many out there, and you're like, I don't know which one to pick. Okay, these puppies survive stomach acid. So you can spend all the money on the world on 50 billion and 100 billion, whatever it is. But if they're not tested and shown clinically proven to show that they survive stomach acid, then they're just getting killed before they actually get to your intestines, which is where they're going to do all of the work. So when it comes to gut health, eat as many and different varied fruits and vegetables as you can to feed those bacteria. And probiotics help increase those good bacteria and increase that good environment, especially with kids who we know are super picky eaters.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leah. And thank you everyone for sharing today. We really wanted to give you just a few tools in your toolbox to be able to have a healthier season coming up, and just these 10 ways to opt out of sick season. Contact the person who invited you to watch this if you have any more questions, because we did want to be brief and just give you those simple tools. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening. We hope you have a great, healthy season, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day, everybody.